In Britain, in 1901, the new decade coincided with a tragic event. Queen Victoria, who was a good British monarch for several decades, passed away. Her oldest son, Prince Albert Edward, ascended the throne as King Edward VII at the age of 59. Due to the fact that his mother never let him be involved in the political issues of the country, and the negative reputation he had gained during his childhood because of his refusal to follow the strict educational discipline that was imposed on him, Bertie, as he was called by his family, tried to find other entertainments and enjoyments, such as gambling, horses, and strong cigars. Therefore, at the time of crowning, Edward had the reputation of the Prince of Pleasure. Queen Victoria and Edward VII had completely different images. While his mother was the symbol of public duty and immaculate private morality, Edward, the Prince of Wales, was completely the opposite. That made the population feel quite worried about their future. They had no idea what to expect from a frivolous king. He was always involved in different kinds of scandals. Many even thought he would never be a good king. Edward, on the other hand, was also worried about how people would accept him and that they would respect him as a king. Despite all this, and thanks to Edward's hidden qualities, he, as a king of England, managed to be closer to the heart of the population and introduced Great Britain into a new era, his era, or as some would call it, the Belle Epoque. The first thing he did was to change the mood of the society, although only for rich people. During Victoria's reign, everything was bleak and gloomy, when Edward's passions for good life brought the glamour, luxury, and opulence into it. New clothing styles were introduced too, where the word fashion acquired an important status in the society. Also, he introduced a new woman, a woman of mature years with generous nature, whom he was fascinated by. Women in general enjoyed more freedom during this period, because it was not only important for upper classes, but also for women from lower classes. At this time, the suffragettes were engaged in civil disobedience, and working women had joined the unions to fight for their legal rights at work. Edward's open-minded ability brought him closer to different social circles, although money was an important element in it. His close friends could be of different religions, could be foreigners or natives. It did not matter him. This made of a mixture of different classes in his society. The domination of French Belle Epoque also affected Great Britain during the Edwardian period, because British intellectuals were influenced by matters of electricity, automobiles, planes, and awareness of human rights. In 1902, the Order of Merit was founded by Edward to prize those artists who distinguished themselves in science, art, or literature. In 1903, the King of England was proclaimed Uncle of Europe and a peacemaker because he managed to negotiate an alliance between Britain, France, and Russia, and thus to end Britain's isolation. Although there were many positive things and events happening at that time, there were periods of confusion and decadence. The working classes maintained a constant fight for their rights, and bad life conditions persisted for poor people. There was also instability in political groups that had different views and objectives. Some political groups existed only for a short time, although many were of great importance, such as the Women's Social and Political Union that was created in 1903 in order to improve women's rights. Liberal groups tried to improve certain aspects of working classes' life, such as to shorten work hours, to introduce old age pensions, unemployment benefit, and state financial support for the sick and infirm. There were many other events of importance during that period, such as Trade Union Act of 1912, Irish Revolution of 1913, World War I, among the others. But in 1910, King Edward VII passed away, and with him, for many, the Edwardian period.